Within the ranks of the Excoriator Space Marine chapter exists a unique genetic curse that strikes both the mind and body of a battle brother. This genetic flaw is known as Dorn's darkness. It is a rare example of a deficiency within the gene seed of Space Marine successor chapter that doesn't manifest in its parent chapter. Similar to the Black Rage found within the Blood Angel Space Marine chapter, Dorn's darkness also creates a hallucinogenic vision that makes the inflicted feel like they are no longer part of this reality. But the darkness goes a step further by affecting the Battle Brothers' muscles to the point of paralysis. And with that said, I want to welcome you guys back to another 40 Facts about the 40K universe. I am your host, Gersh1, and today we're going to be talking about Dorn's darkness. If you guys are new to the channel, we post Warhammer 40K lore videos every single day. What I try to do is I create a video with a lore portion in the beginning, a hobby portion in the middle, and then a Q&A portion at the end. So if you guys have any questions about the previous lore topic or anything about the 40K universe, just let me know what it is in the comment section below. And if you guys like this type of content, please hit the like button, consider sharing with your friends on Facebook, Reddit, or whatever social media you guys use, and subscribe to the channel. With that said, let's get into 40 facts on Dorn's darkness. Dorn's darkness is a genetic deficiency suffered by one of the successor chapters of the Imperial Fist, the Excoriator Space Marine chapter. When Dorn's darkness takes one of their numbers, it might appear to the untrained eye as a mere wretched palsy, a slackness of the jaw, a tremor of the limb, a blackness of the eye. But those who survive it report the experience as a living nightmare, a sleeping wakefulness in which they relive the bottomless woes of Dorn's most trying time, the terrible mortal wounding of the Emperor of Mankind during the final hours of the Battle of Terra. This could be seen as both the genetic blessing of the sons of Dorn's Primarch and a curse upon his sons. It is to know the possibility, for even a slight second, of an Imperium without the Emperor, to feel what Dorn felt, believing that the Emperor was dead. It is a paralyzing fear that even a man as great as Dorn experienced as he stood above the Emperor's broken body after the end of the battle with Horus. While enthralled within the darkness, its victims cannot speak or communicate. They cannot feed themselves or even take in water and seem feverishly insensible to everything happening around them. The process of this genetic curse is somewhat of a mystery for anyone outside of the chapter. At first, the Battle Brother will begin to receive blood-curdling visions of the Emperor's fall, but they will only last mere seconds. This terrible glimpse into the past will be accompanied by small shocks throughout their joints and muscles, or some type of sensation of weakness that lingers for a while, usually as the Space Marine tries to make sense of the horror he just witnessed. As time moves on, the hallucinations will become longer and longer, and some of the physical effects will become more and more severe until they stay for good. It is at this moment that few Battle Brothers can actually hide the symptoms of this genetic curse, as they experience consistent and involuntary tremors of the face and the neck muscles. What's actually happening is that each episode is damaging the demigod's nerve endings, which comes with gradual pain and discomfort. Eventually, the darkness strikes the entire body, but by that point, the Space Marine's face muscles have already been wrecked by the curse, and they will lose control of their facial expressions. Uncontrolled squints, blinking, or closing of the eyelids will prevent many of the Battle Brothers from operating at an optimal efficiency. It becomes an extremely heartbreaking and saddening thing to see a Battle Brother slowly degrade into a shaking, twisting husk of a man, his face drooling and his body unable to perform basic functions. Through the entire process, the Space Marine is self-aware of his decaying health and his inability to control his own body. This loss of control will eat away at his psyche until he decides that it's better to sink into the false reality of his visions rather than to experience the embarrassment and the failure of this curse. Some succumb to the darkness during their training or in between campaigns. Others fall to the darkness during a battle, leaving them helpless in the face of the enemy. It's not clear which outcome is worse. The fact that this curse only affects the Excoriator Space Marine chapter and not any other successor chapter of the Imperial Fist is a complete mystery. It has led many to believe that there is something within the initiation process of the chapter that sparks this genetic flaw. As much as the Magos biologists of the Adeptus Mechanicus would love to probe and examine the gene seed implantation process or review the initiation rituals, which are rumored to be extremely self-deprecating, no chapter master has ever sanctioned such an examination, and their honor and victories through their long history has given the chapter the autonomy it asked for both the High Lords of Terra and their parent chapter. Those Battle Brothers who fall victim to the darkness are left to the care of the chapter's Santiarch, or the Senior Chaplain. The current Senior Chaplain is Santiarch Belshazzar. He offers the victims of the darkness a spiritual treatment that could either cure them or ultimately result in their death. Since the excoriators are often a fleet-bound chapter, he has the afflicted interned within a decorative stasis casket that is transported from the chapter's reclusium of their homeworld of Ashar. The casket is beaten from dull adamantium, and the box has the dimensions of a sarcophagus and the extravagant gancher to match it. Its front piece features a raised depiction of the Emperor. Even though the casket stands upright, it represents the Emperor as prone, maimed, and broken, as he was immediately following the confrontation with Horus at the end of the Battle of Terra. The Santiarch solution to the affliction of the darkness is to create a spiritual darkness of his own within the stasis sarcophagus. It is the most solitary of confinements, where no self-respecting excoriator needs to look upon his own weakness, and where he might summon the strength and the will to banish the darkness of the Primarch and recover his sanity. It is not known whether or not the excoriators are the only Imperial Fist successor chapter afflicted by this genetic deficiency. It's not entirely known what percentage of Battle Brothers manifest Dorne's darkness. Very few heroes have ever been recorded as victims of the flaw. This could be because many Battle Brothers that sense the darkness coming will take on larger and larger risks in battle. To many of them, it is best to die fighting rather than fall victim to the darkness. Severe trauma seems to accelerate the curse. Unsurprisingly, the chapter's morbid fascination with pain and ritual scarring increases the damage of Dorne's darkness. Whether or not this curse will ever be conquered is a question left to the chapter's Master of Sanctity. And that's the lore of Dorne's darkness. Now, what's cool about Dorne's darkness is that it's a genetic flaw that affects a Primarch's successor chapters that normally wouldn't. So what that means is, like, if you want to create your own homebrew Space Marine chapter, and you want to choose a Primarch that doesn't have a genetic flaw, or you want to kind of like use like maybe the Red Thirst or the Wolfen Curse with like a different Primarch, you can. If you actually check out our 40 facts on how to create your own homebrew chapter, in that video I explain the process of creating a homebrew chapter, but more importantly, there is a portion that where you have to decide whether your Space Marine chapter is going to have a genetic flaw, because that is kind of like a focal point to a lot of the narrative of some of the other chapters. So this gives you the ability to just make up a flaw all on your own, or like I said, kind of venture through like adopting a different genetic flaw into a different Primarch and see how that creates or how that manifests within your chapter. The 40 facts video that I created explains a little bit further too of like just how to homebrew a chapter. I'll put a link up above if I haven't said that already. If not, just check out our 40 facts on homebrew chapters. But now it's time to answer the questions that you guys left in last 40 facts video. This 40 facts video was a while back. It was actually 40 facts and lore on the Forge World of Mars, and I posted it early July. I've been gone for like a week. So we're going to be answering some questions from that video. If you guys have more questions or any comments that you guys would like me to react to in tomorrow's 40 Facts video, please comment down in the comment section below. But let's get into it. Big Girl says, wait, this troll is into a game that has lore based on a ruler who is trying to vanquish the belief in gods, and he has an issue with what you said. You need to examine the difference between his word and his action, or he needs to examine. Yeah, I kind of agree. I don't actually think that this guy was a troll. For all those that don't know, a couple of 40 Facts videos back, I said that I compared Jesus Christ to the Emperor of Mankind in that they are both beings that are worshipped, but don't actually do anything for their worshippers. And I guess somebody did not like that and said I shouldn't talk bad about Jesus and how like Islam is going to be defeated by Christianity and all this kind of nonsense. I don't actually think he was a troll. I probably think that he was just like a young kid regurgitating whatever was told to him by like, maybe his parents, his community, or just like the internet. But yeah, it's just like, it's a little bit of just nonsense. But you do bring up a good point and something that I want to talk about, or it gives me the opportunity to talk about the fact that the Emperor of Mankind, his initial belief system was called the Imperial Truth. And the Imperial Truth, the whole point of it was to destroy all religions from humanity. During the Dark Age of technology, so when humanity was going up, basically what we would be in right now, the Emperor existed, and he was just kind of watching, and he would see that religion was really a way to divide people, make them fight with one another for no real reason other than to, in the 40K universe, to fuel the Chaos Gods, because it was the worship of all of these different deities that was empowering the 4 major Chaos Gods quietly and without them even knowing. Maybe even the Emperor didn't even know. So when the Emperor finally took control, he was like, yeah, let's do away with religion. Nobody should be worshipped. Any new ruler that we bring into the fold of the Imperium has to agree not to worship anything. That was what the Imperial Creed was. It was about innovation and science and like progression of human ingenuity and just having a belief in humanity. It's ironic that now he is worshipped as a Chaos God because the Imperial Creed, or the Imperial Truth, was destroyed and usurped by the Imperial Creed, which was really the Lectitio Divinatis created by Lorgar, Erebus, and Corferon, who worshipped the Emperor of Mankind. And after he was placed on the Golden Throne, his followers kind of seeped in and basically brainwashed humanity into believing that the Emperor was a god. And the rest is what we have now, this oppressive, regressed state where this being that used to be about triumph or human triumph is now about worshiping him, and that humans should be subservient to him. But yeah, that's the lore of the religion of the Emperor. Thanks for commenting that, big girl. Gave me an opportunity to talk about that. Next question comes from Pikachu Nut. What Imperial ships can and which cannot land on a planet's surface, or at least enter the atmosphere? It depends on the planet, and honestly, that's always changing because I've seen some art where a sorry, my throat. Where a battle barge, a Space Marine battle barge, crashes onto the surface of a planet and it wipes out the planet completely. But I've also seen crash landings of a battle barge and the planet, like, you don't even see the curve of the planet. So it all really depends on the planet and all that kind of stuff. If you're into the ships of the Imperium, if that tickles your fancy, then you should play Battlefleet Gothic Armada. It's a game. It's an online game. It used to be a tabletop game. It might still be a game on the tabletop. I'm not too sure if GW still covers it, but they go through like the different classifications of the different ships, not just for the Imperium, but also for other factions and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. That's where you get Blackstone fortresses, and you can actually play with them, and like it's a pretty cool game. You should check it out. Next comment comes from Ace McFly. Ever thought of doing a live stream while you paint and talk about the lore at great length? Yeah, I've done that. I just need to figure out exactly like the time that works for me, that doesn't interfere with like just my regular life schedule, and then also the setup of how I can like get it to paint on the actual or get it to look good while I'm painting. Because a big problem that I have is I paint really close. So if I have a camera and usually the camera like points down, I can't be painting like out here or whatever. But yeah, I'll figure it out. Next question comes from, this one comes from Queen_Oreo. Hey, can you do a video on the other Chaos Gods? Yeah, I could do that. No problem. Drooling Moon. Do the snake bite orcs traverse space, or do other orcs seek them out and join the walk? For the most part, snakebite orcs exist because an orc invaded a planet. So what happens is the orcs invade a planet. They get killed, obviously. They release spores. These spores generate more boys really quickly, but sometimes they don't generate close enough to the orc encampment. They'll generate like in random places just because spores are like carried by the wind or whatever it may be on that planet. And then they end up being created, and then they are feral orcs, and they're hitting each other with like choppas. They don't have really sluggas and stuff like that. And then they join the warband later on. Now the super like solidified tribes of the snake bites, yes, they do join bigger wogs, and then they get transported that way. If you have a snake bite war boss, why can't I feel like I can't say snake bite. Snakebite war boss, then what happens is that he usually hires a Bad Moon or a freebooter captain or some type of orc from another clan, like a mech from another clan, to build them a ship to actually get them out of the planet. And that's kind of what, like beast snagger boys are. They are these kind of big game hunters that use other clans as a way to piggyback from one planet to another, and then they spread their culture and all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, good question. Another question comes from Caboose NZ69. Do you own or have you seen the old metal build Thunderhawk? We've talked about this before, and no, I've never seen it. I don't own it. I know what you're talking about. And it would be awesome to have, just so I can create some cool terrain for it. Maybe one day. Also, would Zoids fit into 40k? And if they did, which race would be the ones to use them? I remember who Zoids are. Yeah, I don't know what Zoids are. Next question comes from Saitama X. Make the lore portions bigger, please. Yes, it's just that the lore portions are usually the ones that take up the most time, so it's difficult. But yes, that is my goal. My goal is to have like longer lore portions. I'm working right now on a Adeptus Mechanicus lore video that's going to be pretty long. But yeah, I will. Next question comes from Kembra James. Do the other planets in the Sol systems have populations? Yes, most of them do. Most of them are mining planets too, so the populations are going to be small, but they do have populations. So if you think of my very energetic mother just served us 9 pizzas. So Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, the rest of the planets, yes, they all have populations. My favorite planet isn't even the planet, it's the moon. So Luna actually has gene labs, and the Emperor used those gene labs to help him create the Space Marines. We have a 40 Facts video on it. You should check it out. I'll put a link up above. This next question comes from the big one. What's the best way to get my baby's mom into 40k so I am not playing with my miniatures by myself? You need to leave your baby's mom and find a wife who's into miniatures. And bam. Problem solved. Next question comes from Gentle Rain. Can you react to the vid arc drop the other day about Warhammer Plus? The reaction interest area is, will Warhammer begin to shut down competition? Do you have enough variety? I haven't actually. It's funny enough because I was thinking about Arc Warhammer, the YouTube channel, today actually. Because usually when you watch a video in the suggested section, he would pop up all the time. Like he would be one of the top ones, and at least for like the One Mind Syndicate channel. And now he's not even there. I have Meet Kevin, a Border Prince. One Mind Syndicate, Luton 09, and yeah, like he's not popping up. Luton 09 again, Oculus Imperia, Baltimore's Guide to Warhammer, but yeah, so I was thinking like, I wonder what happened to him. Like I wonder if he's still making videos, or because I know he does more than just 40k. He does like video game stuff, I think. But yeah, I probably won't do a reaction video to that just because it's probably going to be boring. My thoughts are pretty simple. I don't think that GW is going to pay attention to us. Like we're our content is not very good. Like it's basically just our voices and like a slideshow. So like we are not adding something that GW should be threatened about. Astartes, they're creating an entire animation thing, and they're creating a world through that. So are a bunch of other people that got like tapped to go over to the Warhammer Plus stuff. Us, who are just like talking about the lore, talking about new releases. I don't think we have anything to worry about because we're just commentators. And yeah, I don't. That's pretty much it. Like I said, it's probably like a boring explanation. If that's exactly what he was saying, I haven't seen that video that Ark posted. But yeah. Next question comes from NPC123. What is the most insane dark piece of technology that humanity still has, not including the Golden Throne or the Phalanx? Unfortunately, like the scary dark pieces of technology are tucked away. Either the Adeptus Mechanicus is forbidden from touching them, or like the Emperor put them in those cells that were released a while back, and the Adeptus Custodes are taking care of them. But other than that, a dark piece of technology, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I might be able to do a 40 facts video on it, but it's not going to be like world-breaking technology, other than the Blackstones, obviously. The Blackstone fortresses are pretty cool. This next question comes from John McHugh. Do you think that the Primaris Marines will fall to chaos eventually? Yeah, I think so. Just because the models are going to be badass. Some of the conversions already look really awesome. But yeah. And then next question comes from Guy Hesching. Weird that you're worshiping chaos and still a better Christian than most. And Rail. No, I'm not worshiping chaos, and no, I don't think I'm a better Christian than most. But this question comes, and then he has a question that says, Verga way or way verga? Tengo que saber. It's definitely verga way, because I've never heard anybody say way verga. That's weird. For all those that don't speak Spanish, those are bad words. Don't use them to anybody, or don't say them to anybody, unless you want to. It's your life. Sylvia Winter says, honestly, I like the conglomeration. It makes it fun and easy to watch. So do I. I love creating these types of videos because I feel like they're more personable. Like it lets you guys see that there's a person behind here. And then also the other videos were getting kind of like really boring to make. And it was really hard for me to create videos every day, which is probably why you guys saw like a huge drop in 40 facts videos. The reason I kept doing the 40 facts videos the way that they used to be done is just because I remember when I was younger, I would look forward to mini wargaming. I would look forward to, what was his name? Vaults of Terra. And those videos weren't that great. A lot of the times the mini wargaming videos were way too long and like the battle reports are But I used to watch them because it was my only source of like the hobby at that time. Warhammer 40K here in the States is not very popular. So for a while I was like the only one in the group that was still playing and reading the lore. So I feel like that there are some of you guys out there that are still like that, where like your group kind of moved on. You still have that like urge or that thirst for the 40K lore and the 40K like community, and I want to be part of that. And if I'm posting every single day, that just buffs your interest, and hopefully you can get like your friends back into it, or introduce, or show these videos to your friends, and then they get back into it, because the lore really is like a hook. It gets you and it pulls you back in, and you spend a bunch of money, and that's life. But yeah, these videos kind of are a nice little break, or not a break because they're going to continue, but they're a nice little like different twist on an old classic. But yeah, those were the questions and comments for today. If you guys have more for me, please comment down below. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. This was Gershwin with One Mind Syndicate signing out.
Oh, if you could put my freedom first,